T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What is up, everybody? What is up? How are y'all doing this evening? I look a hot mess. Y'all just have to forgive me. It's been a day. It's been a day. But you know what? Wasn't terrible. So I'll take it. Quick little roll call. I see Nutty in the house. Good to see you. Hi, Grateful. She'll probably work her way back in. Hi, Miss Gail. How are you? I got your email, honey. I just haven't had the chance to respond yet. I'll shoot you one back, okay? Don't want you to think I forgot about you because I didn't. Man, look at who's here. Summer Cats, how are you, honey? SH, how are you? How are you guys? Oh, me. I'm tired. I did all my running around today and got all the stuff that I needed for my yard and got out there and only got about half done. Got out, did all my weed eating, trimmed all my bushes, and right about the time that I got all that done and finally handled, the sun started kind of creeping down and I was like, well, crap, I don't have time to be mowing the yard. Like I can't be out here with the sun going down or starting to get dark mowing the yard. I was like, my neighbors would be cussing me out. So I came in, got maybe like a 30-minute nap, and my dad started texting me and it woke me up. So I guess it works out the way it's supposed to. That's just the way I look at it, because I've got to go to bed right after we get off stream because I have to be up at 5 a.m. in the morning because I got to go in for the first orientation shift at the ALF. So it sucks to be an adult sometimes. I tell you, what I would give to be 18 again and have no major responsibilities, Hi, Charlotte. Good to see you. So I know I said that we were going to take a break from the psychotic fat women that we're accustomed to dealing with, but I am going to touch on that a little bit today. Right off the get-go, that big rage stream, I'm not going to get into that because that would take all bloody night. And I know everybody has watched it on some other channel somewhere. So what I will say is, for somebody who's so unbothered, for somebody who has nothing to hide, there's been an awful lot of attention devoted to arguing all the points made. There was an awful lot of prove it, that never happened, and so on and so forth. And we only see that sort of behavior from old girl when she's got something that she don't want people to know. The other thing, which I found absolutely amusing, is she turned to this Tecate channel. Hi there. How are you? Ghost Goose. I remember a time getting up at 5 a.m. to be at work at 6 a.m. It's exactly what happened. If I could go back to 20 and actually invest 10% of my income, I'd be doing fine by now. Same. I mean, don't get me wrong. My investment at the time was really more investing into a home at the time. You know what I mean? That was most of where my extra money was going to, because I paid my house off like in 3 years, 3.5 years, something like that. That and vehicle. I steamrolled all my bills for the longest time. I was miserable, but once it was paid for, I was content. Hi, Fiona's mom. This woman, Takate, her seeking out that woman and that woman's channel in order to gain those last few subs that she needed to be able to say that she's past the 100K mark. And now she's calling the woman an idiot. If that doesn't tell all these newly acquired Muslim people who she is, then I don't know what else will. I mean, she went to those people, she sucked up to them, she was talking to them in Arabic in the chats, and then all of a sudden, I don't speak Arabic, and this woman's an idiot, and how dare she, and whatever, even though the woman didn't do anything to her. I am hoping that, now that these folks are starting to see more of a clear view of who she is, the word will spread within those communities. Because even though they're not supposed to gossip, they talk to each other. There is no way to actually keep people from talking about each other. Hi. Hello, little man. I am now too deep in the salty pride. Little mama's right here. Say hi. And then you got to see Boo Man, his little dusty butt. Oh, hi, Leanie Bo. Good to see you. I went to the bars on vacations, had fun, nothing to show for it. See, me, I was the other way around. I don't like being beholden to people, and I don't like for there to be anything held over my head. So I am real quick to pay things off, because I don't like being beholden to people. I don't want to have to worry about late fees. I don't want to have to deal with that, and because, life is really kind of precarious overall. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. So you got to kind of go, okay, I'm going to do as much as I can to keep me from having a problem. So, trying to pay things off as quick as I could, was a big part of that. There are, and I originally had not planned on going live, but, there's been such a rollout of drama that, I figured, we could talk a little bit about the drama that we know. We'll get into some drama that we don't know, and just kind of see where it goes. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so what do we say we get into it? Because there's always something to get into around here. Excuse you? What are you doing? Goofball. Little goofball. Let's see. I'm glad to be here too. Grateful. Honestly, any time with you guys is always a good time, and I'm always down for that if y'all are. Last year's been so hard financially. It seems like everything was happening. It is, and this the crazy thing. The crazy thing is that I have a feeling it's probably going to get worse before it gets even close to getting better, which is really kind of sad. Me too. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. I started laughing when I saw it because he's clutching his heart. Instead of clutching pearls, he's clutching his heart, kind of. And I was just like, yep, perfect. All right. So we're going to start out with Foodie talking about Pete's here. Shout out to Just Saying and all of the work she puts in, because God bless her. I don't think I could do it.
And the one that just can't help but react. Under Title 17, I am a member of an elite squad, also known as the Special Viewers Unit. These are the stories.
All right, so because I'm like, honestly, I had to force myself today. And yes, I feel proud because I'm having a very bad mental health day. And my life feels okay today, but my mental health is crap. And I literally was like, let's just order. And every time I get like this, I want to neglect everything in my life. So I'm like, so Salah was looking at like Indian restaurants, and he was like, okay, let's order. And then whenever I saw the total at the end, I was like, I'm just gonna move my ass and make it, because like he was craving Indian food. So I'm like, Indian food, I can make Indian food. So I showered, got out of my rut, made dinner, and I feel better now. So, but there are some things I would like to address.
So, okay, real quick. Tell me how little you have going on with your life that you are proud of the fact that you are continuing to function despite having a bad mental health day. I mean, I know every single person out here watching somewhere, whether it be now or later, is going to be like kind of thinking, well, hell, that's just life. Life continues on. You have responsibilities no matter how bad your mental health gets. You know, nobody gives a damn that you're having a bad mental health day. You know what I mean? I was debt free except mortgage until my brain tumor. I'm sorry. Hopefully you're rebounding from that. Hopefully it won't take you long to get back to where you're in the black again. I had to get a new water heater, 2 huge trees removed, new roof, pay for a funeral, buy a new car, just hit from all sides. Well, as bad as it sounds, that it does go like that. Like everything goes wrong for a little while, and you're like scratching and scrambling to try to get past the other side of it. And then you get in a phase where you're just kind of coasting and everything's going right and things are going your way. And, you know, I feel some of that. I mean, like I had to have a tree removed, paid for a car out, paid for my car outright. There was a few things that have gone on that, you know, kind of all rolled into a short time frame. But now that I'm past that too, I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be all right now. Let's just keep pushing forward. You know what I mean? Girl, right. I find it odd of her age. She has nothing to show for, no responsibilities whatsoever. I know. Well, and that's just because that's learned behavior. She's been taught that she can get away with not having any responsibility, and that when she does have something that she has to be accountable for, all she has to do is throw a temper tantrum and the people around her cave, you know. Hi, Pix. I'm good to see you. I'm good. How are you? It's good to see you. How are you? I'll have more cash flow. I'm not going to be as generous with my BPD adult daughter. Last year, I've been taken advantage of. And there's nothing wrong with you setting some boundaries there, Charlotte. You know, and put that money away and have you a rainy day fund, you know, eventually save up towards some goal of something that you have always wanted and just never did get around to, you know. I've been AFK so much lately. Bless your heart. I'm grateful to be here working on getting back to where we need to be. You'll get there. You will absolutely get there. No question in my mind. I went from actively planning my unaliving for that day and came to my senses and took my miserable self to work. I had people depending on me for their basic needs. I couldn't be selfish. Right. Well, and here's the thing about that sort of situation. Honestly, I mean, if you can get yourself past that moment, eventually you end up glad that you did. So, I mean, obviously you are still glad. You're glad that you made the decision not to go through with it. And that work was the thing that was like, I've got to yank my head out of this. And because I got stuff I got to do, you know, and we're glad that you're here because things wouldn't be the same without you, SH. Hi, Blondie. How are you, darling? It's good to see you. Chantal needs to figure out how to get through adulthood. It sucks. We all deal with it. Exactly. Adulting absolutely sucks, but you know, it's a part of life. There's nothing you can do. I'm going to grab a quick snack. I'm with earshot though. Okay. Pick something good now. I absolutely could not leave my dad alone. And see that, and so many reasons that you're supposed to be here, SH. Just remember that. My blood sugar is 4.2 right now, so I need a bit of a nosh. Hey, I agree. You definitely need to put a little bit of something in the tank. I remember when I worked, my husband and I lived check to check and could not save any money. Well, I'll tell you what I've kind of noticed, because I was like that for a while too. When I was talking about working all those jobs to pay off everything, that was me working 3 jobs at the time. I had a full-time job and 2 part-time jobs. So I was perpetually working all the time. One check The full-time job went to paying basic day-to-day bills. The other two, those two part-time jobs, all that money got rolled over into paying off car and then paying off house and all that stuff. And after I got that done, I backed down to simply just a single job. But what I found worked for me is setting up your account, your checking account, so that it rounds up to the next dollar. Let's say if you buy a sandwich and the sandwich costs you $2.50, you can set it up so that your bank rounds up to the next dollar, and whatever the difference is, it gets kicked over into your savings. You're not noticing that 50-cent difference, for the most part. And at the end of the paycheck, whatever your paycheck, the day of, the morning of, what I would do, like if I got paid every 2 weeks, early Friday morning before the check went in, I would take everything that's left. Let's say I had $124 in there in my checking account. I would take $120 and move it to savings, and then the new paycheck would drop. And that way I don't look at that money every time I log in. It's moved out of the way, kind of out of sight, out of mind. And eventually that money, between rounding off your dollar and moving things over so that you're not focusing on that money, it's not a part of your total. So you're working within a budget automatically. It makes a world of difference. But that's just how I do things. Now, I'm not saying that that's how everybody should do things, but that's how I do things. Every time I had a bit of money saved, I found a use for it. Tires, water heater, broken furnace on Black Friday. Oh, Lord. See, and that's usually the way it goes, but it is absolute. But see, that's kind of what that money is there for. It's kind of like your oh shit fund, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know, so it's always good to have something there so that you're not having to, try to figure out, oh my God, what am I going to do? Am I going to sell something to find this money? Or am I going to have to take a loan to pay for this or whatever? So at least you kind of know, you're like, well, I'll be okay so long as it's not something excessive. Hi, Amethyst. I'm here for your take on everything and holding her feet to the fire. Girl, I can't promise I'm going to get hot, hella spicy tonight, but I am going to give my opinion. You know how that goes. I'm glad you think so. I mean, I love my folks. I honestly did, but they didn't teach me fuck all about money management. I had to learn how to do all that crap on my own, which is insane because, my folks, especially my mom, was great at money management. I mean, just great at it. And I had no clue. I set out into the world not knowing a damn thing and had to figure it out, It sure could have been worse. Could have been put on credit card, taken another 6 years to pay down. Exactly. And that's the big thing. I mean, I'm not like looking down on credit cards or anything, because I have one. And what I do is I'll make all my purchases on that so that, if anything happens, the credit card number gets stolen, stuff like that, I don't have to worry about the money part of that, because it's covered through the insurance, through the company. And I get money back by using the credit card, and I just simply pay off the balance, To me, that's just a smarter thing. That way I'm technically keeping some of the money I'm spending, but, that's just me. Let's see. I find as we get paid, the money goes into one hand and out the other at the same time. But that's everybody though. Everybody kind of has that feeling, Gail. I understand what you're talking about. I have that same feeling sometimes. It's like, God, I just got paid. Where did all this money go? But, got to have those basic necessities for life, All right, let us continue.
I would like to have a serious answer. I would like to know for real. Seriously. Oh, I'll check again, Nicolina. Assalamu alaikum. I would like to know from reaction channels that make such a big, or people who follow them, I want to know, seriously, I'm not raging. I want to know on a serious, calm level, what gives you the right to be invasive and know my visa status? Number one question for you. Number two, how does this affect your life in any way? Number three, when did reacting it went from reacting to videos to being invasive in my personal life? I'd like to know that.
All right, so let's ask a couple of questions of you. Who exactly do you think has got that much time to invest that that's all that people want to do is be all involved in your life? Secondarily, I would love to know who exactly you're talking about who's being so invasive when you live on the other side of the planet, ma'am. Number 3, don't nobody give 2 fucks about your status. What we do know is that you lie your ass off about it and you tell multiple variations of what the truth is. That's more of what the conversation is about. Don't nobody care. Don't nobody care. All people care about is that you a bad liar, and then you turn into a dick when you're caught.
On a serious level, I would like to know that in your next videos, because there's this drama going around that Pete's apparently said some things, probably not realizing that it was a big deal. You know, he probably didn't think, oh, people are going to talk about this, like her visa, who cares, you know? So I just want to clear some things up.
Anyway, I do miss her. Plane fare is expensive though, so I mean, like, she can't really afford to. Yeah, she needs to save up more money before she can visit again. Not something where she can pop over to Canada every few months. Intercontinental flights are not cheap. Every 3 months, no, that's way too expensive for a tourist visa. Flying from Kuwait to Canada, it's an expensive flight. We were never hooligans. Every 3 months you have to travel for a tourist visa. Oh, well, that, like, she's just, like, hopping to another country, from what I understand.
We been new.
Like, when she was here, there was, like, one time we hung out, she also, stopped in at my mom's, and she explained to my mom that, like, she pops over to, Saudi Arabia. But basically she just pops across the border for a couple days while her visa renews. So yeah, for a round trip, Kuwait to Canada, you're looking.
That's because he ain't got no real clothes to hang up.
$1,100, $1,200. I mean, obviously that's going to depend on the dates as well.
Number 1, I'm not mad at pizza, and I'll never be mad at pizza. So basically,
yeah, could have fooled me. I have a few payments every month. They go on card, so I don't forget to pay them. And if things get tight, I make partial payments on the card and still have phone and electric on. That's a smart move. If she put it out there in the beginning, bragging that she was an expat, which she's not. Right, exactly. That's the issue. It's the fact that she lies about things, and then when she gets caught up in something, that makes her look stupid ultimately, Let's see. Exactly. Couldn't agree more. As far as I'm concerned, he should have done faded into obscurity, but that's just me. Everyone coming in and lurking. She told him $1,000 round trip from Kuwait to Montreal. We already know that it's more than that, but now her saying she's not mad at him, the fact that she devoted a whole video to this lets you know that she's not happy with him. She ain't on here dismantling him like she would other people, because she knows that he is the perpetual backup. He is the fallback guy. So she's not going to come on here and flat out burn that bridge. So, but she's mad.
Basically, for those of you who are new and don't know who Pete is, he was, my former roommate, but he's been a friend, like a best friend for like probably, I don't know how many years now, but since like high school, okay? That won't change.
Hey. These two went into a scrap session and little mama landed on the keyboard. Could we not please? Get over here. Get over here, Goofy. Quit terrorizing your sister. I love you. I know. Yeah. What am I going to do with y'all? Huh? What am I going to do with y'all? No. Vamonos, if it's time to play, then y'all going to have to go off the desk to do that. Come on now. Come on.
Let's on the dates as well.
My former roommate, but he's been a friend, like a best friend for like probably, I don't know how many years now, but since like high school. Okay.
I went to pause it, and then them two went into their little ruckus session here. Do you notice that all of a sudden, miraculously, we leave out the fact that he was a former fiance and baby daddy of two of her unborn children?
That would change.
Interesting how that changed real quick.
And people like to virtue signal, well, as a Muslim woman, you're not allowed to have friends. Maybe that's true. It's not your business. Word from paparazzi. Hey, Jack. Hey, everybody. I missed our meeting. And he also apparently said, he said when I was down in Canada, I visited his mom and was talking about, how I would border hop and that I can't afford to come to Canada because plane tickets are expensive. All right. As for the plane fare, yeah, it's expensive. It's even more than he said usually, because I usually go last minute. Like I book my plane ticket last minute, so it's always more.
See, that's a her problem. That's a her problem. How it is that we're supposed to be kind of caught off guard by the fact that she spends all this money. That's a her problem. Most normal, rational adult human beings, we'd be planning a trip like that months out. But, we know old girl don't function that way. My cat is an old man and it's after 9. He was snoring long ago. Well, I think little mama, I don't know exactly how old little mama is, but I know that she showed up at my house 5 years ago. So I would say, I know she's at least 5. She might even be, she's probably even older than that. Boo Man is 7. I think. And then Romeo's about a year or two. He's in between a year and 2 years. So they're all of mine are still relatively young, quite true. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I say good for Pete's for spilling the tea. After how Chantal treated him, she manipulated the fudge out of him. She told this to Pete's mom at Christmas. Yeah. And I'm with you on that. I mean, honestly, the fact is that she can try to say as much as she wants, that he is so impressionable, because that's one of the excuses that she uses. He is not, it's not that he's duped, because he's not stupid. He just doesn't care. He doesn't feel like he has anything to hide. He just says whatever floats between his eardrums. And that's just the way it goes. And that's most of what gets her in trouble, is the fact that she relies on him to maintain her secrets for her, when if she didn't want anybody to know that, she should have flat out told him that. But instead, she just kind of was like putting her business on Front Street. She should know that Pete's is the equivalent of a leaking sieve, y'all. She's aware she'll need Pete's to go back to Canada. Her family won't let her stay. Exactly. He is the fallback plan. Pete's will perpetually be the fallback plan. She'll be in her 50s, maybe, still doing fuck shit, and still be looking at Pete's going, Pete's, I want us to be roommates again. And he'll be like, okay. Long live the itty bitty kitty committee. The Salty Pride is a wild, wild bunch, let me tell you. Okay, I'm in and settled again. Chantal will always use him. Yes, and that's the crazy thing about it, is you would think after all this time that he would kind of recognize that she doesn't mean anything to him beyond what he can do for her. Hi, Killjoy. How are you? I know she won't live to be 50. I just, had to pick a number. I don't see her living past 45, to be honest.
So it's expensive. It's expensive to go travel to Canada. It's a very expensive plane ticket. It's not something I even technically, I could pay for it, or he could pay for it, or we could pay for it, whatever. It's no one's business. Technically, a ticket could be bought, but then we have bills. I have a lot of debts I have to deal with from Canada. We have our bills here, and we are planning for other travel. And so for me to just go to Canada, for no reason, even a couple of times a year, it is expensive. And I have been doing it.
Better believe it.
So he's technically right. The airfare is expensive. And he's probably just assuming, because I never was rich or anything, and I'm not rich. I don't see what the T in is that. What's the T? Oh, no, she can't afford a plane ticket to Canada. If I need to go to Canada, I'll get there. Don't worry about it. So he's right about that. It is expensive to go to Canada. It's not cheap. As for the border hopping, at one point, yeah. Number one, I'm not going to talk about my visa status. I'm not going to confirm or deny anything because
Just the details by itself confirms. And I'm sorry, but that I border hopping for a little while, ma'am. You've been border hopping the entire time you've been here. You've been in this little arc of things. Oh, really? All right. Big up on you, Pigs. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. I got a little bit more time to go before then. Exactly. That's the point. And that's why that's why all of this. I'm not sure why she's so bent over it. It's not like people hadn't guessed her visa status already. I know, but it's just with her. I mean, she claims she doesn't care. She's like, I don't see what the big deal is. But she invests so much attention. If she did not care, there would not be this level of energy devoted to it all. Ideally, what it comes down to, I'm going to use some Shakespeare, methinks she doth protest too much. So she can say she don't care, but we know that she does. Otherwise, she would never have even made a whole friggin' video about it, just like she wouldn't have made a whole video about the Snowflake documentary. She tells on herself. She would probably get a better response if she came on and said, you know what? I'm not talking about it, but I'm pissed off that y'all were talking about it. Okay, talking about the visa stuff. With the Snowflake stuff, she should have said, I don't like how it made me look, and I'm mad that it's going to make me look bad to all these people that are brand new that don't know nothing about me. If she would just come out and say it, she would probably get a better reception instead of her coming on here acting an ass. See, I'm a 79 baby. I still got a little bit to go. I doubt that too. Highly doubt it. It was pretty good. I'm not going to lie. We're going to have a little bit of discussion about Mr. Snowflake because that's turned into a whole thing. Jessica Meska did a 2-hour live stream on it all. Oh my goodness.
literally it's no one's business. I don't know where the one up is and saying, oh yeah, we were right. Who cares even if it was true? Who cares what visa I'm on here? You can't just come here. At first, yeah, it was a tourist visa and I would border hop somewhere sometimes. Yes, of course. So what? What's your point? I don't know can you please tell me what the T is? You don't just come here and get a visa. It's hard. They've changed the rules a lot. You don't know what my visa status is now. Even Pete doesn't know because I haven't told him anything in a while.
Nobody cares.
I used to border hop, yes. Now, I'm not telling you. For example, they've recently changed the rules where you can have a family visa here now. Like it depends on a lot of things. You have to have a certain amount of money and all this and that. Not like an unreasonable amount, but there's like criteria. And Salah fits the criteria. So I'm just saying, like, they've changed things for family visas. I'm not saying that's what I'm doing. I'm not saying it's not what I'm doing. I'm not telling you on purpose. Like, I don't want that private information to be told for people to exploit it for views because they have nothing.
That's Chantal speak for. I don't want to prove anybody right, so I'm not fixing to tell them anything that's going to prove them right. Exactly. If she had completely ignored it and said nothing and not deleted her videos, she could have made money off of it and said Snowflake's viewers will go to the reaction channels. I agree. That's exactly what's going to happen, because when the time comes that they watch that, they're going to be like, okay, this is just a little bit of it. What else is there? And you're right. They absolutely will. And if she thinks that it's going to help her by doing all of that, it's actually not. It's going to end up hurting her in the long run. She's basically shooting herself in the foot here. Most of the criteria for visas other than tourists have physical requirements she can't pass. Exactly. And that's the thing. She knows she can't pass it, but she wants everybody to believe that she can. And this is her living her little Delulu land.
All right. They're literally desperate, low to the point where they have nothing else, that they have to make tea out of what my visa status is in a country, as if that has any true meaning to their life, like whatsoever.
It doesn't. But this is entertainment for us. This is the equivalent of a trashy telenovela. That's actually specifically what I tell people that this whole Chantal verse is it is a trashy telenovela with morbidly obese women. That's all this is. This is no different than water cooler talk on Monday morning at work. We just happen to do it whenever and wherever from the comfort of a phone in our hand or a TV screen or a laptop. She needs to quit overinflating her sense of self-importance in all this.
Sure. I don't say out loud because I purposely was vague. And I would say, yes, no, on purpose. Because it's not anyone's business. I don't want to know what it is. Because again, it's my life, it's my business, not yours. The need to have all of this information about my private life is insanely invasive and insanely pathetic for content.
First off, you created this trend, ma'am. All of this is your doing. You oversharing and showing us and telling us things that we didn't want to see or hear created this entire situation for you. For me, I don't really give a shit what your status is. Nobody genuinely cares, you know? Let's see. To garnish wages in Canada, it depends on the province, and there's a huge legal thing to get it to go through. Child support is the easiest to get garnished. Tax evasion or debt is harder. Wow. Holy moly. Poor health, no job in the country, not enrolled in school. I wonder how long she can border hop until Kuwait kicks her out for good. Another thing that she doesn't have to is she doesn't have any sort of formal education, because, you know, one of the things that they want you to turn in is like proof of degree in whatever your field is. So she doesn't have that. Been listening, but it was in the shower and I'm all done. So hi, y'all. Hi, Heidi. Squeaky clean Heidi. That wasn't to diminish Krista or Gail's words. It is possible they have to prove Chantal is making money through a U.S. company first. That's a legal hang-up. They may not see a point in doing well, maybe, or it may just take a while. You know what I mean? Right. Exactly. And now that that's what everybody's accustomed to, she wants to be mad. It's like, come on now. You love attention. You love being speculated about. Otherwise, why would you be sharing all this stuff? But now all of a sudden that you've changed your mind, it's a problem.
People don't understand why I hide my status. Because, Stephanie, it's no one's business. And you are actually going to say why I keep these things private? Have you seen people say they're going to call the Kuwait authorities? People say they're going to show up at the airport. People looking up my tickets when I'm going on a flight.
Ain't nobody looked up your ticket, girl.
People showing up. People go real life on me all the time, Stephanie. So I'm trying to protect myself and my privacy. I don't need people knowing all my business. Just like I don't show people my marriage certificate. Like, no. Yeah, no, they're not pulling me out of a peaceful place, but I'm definitely addressing it. People are that low, and that is.
If you had nothing to worry about, why would you care if they threatened to call the Kuwaiti government? If you as big and bad as you like to portray yourself to be, why are you worried about people being at the airport? Ain't nobody looked up your airplane tickets, ma'am. Ain't nobody done that. It's almost like you talk a real big game until somebody's actually willing to step up and do something that will put you in your place. And we already know that old girl is a puss. The only thing she's good at running is that gator, because I can guarantee you she can't run them hands. The problem is she lies when then gets pissed when people prove it. Agreed. She just doesn't get that she is the low-hanging fruit. Right. And the thing is she made herself that. And now she wants to be mad. It's like, come on now. She can only border hop so long on a tourist visa. And I'm looking forward to the point where they get her, when they get their hands on her. Because then she ain't going to be able to weasel her way out of it. And no amount of crying Islamophobia is going to work on that. She's hiding from the Kuwaiti government. She's scared. I agree. False alarm. She knocked over the unused when she reuses to eat her crunchies. Oh, Lordy. Bless her.
Says with me, that they would do something like that for sure. And of course, Kuwait authorities are going to think that these people are just Islamophobic and stupid, which they are, and probably hang up on them.
Hey,
I know, Stephanie. Yeah, it's illegal. I mean, that's the thing. But I'm keeping it private because it's a part of my life I want to keep private. I don't even have to explain beyond that why, you know? It should just be left at that. Okay, she doesn't want to talk about it. I mean, I don't know.
cool. You don't want to talk about it, but that doesn't mean the people in your circle won't.
Like, it's not something I want to talk about. I'm saying that there are a lot of Islamophobic people who make a lot of comments. So
I think you mean Scarlett O'Hara.
like the Harry Ham and all that stuff, and saying I'm obsessed with plane crashes because I'm gonna be a bomber and stuff like that.
Ain't nobody said that. I ain't seen not one person say that.
Yeah, I think it's just.
But what I will say is that you're a miserable fuck who revels in the suffering of others. That's what I'll say. That's the nicest way I can think to put it, as a matter of fact. Right. Can't afford to go anywhere that costs money. Left to hang out in abandoned buildings with dung beetles. Right. But we're the uncultured swine out here. People with real lives who actually do travel and experience things, but we're the uncultured ones. She's got a PhD in eating. Lord have mercy.
More prudent to be very secretive about things like this. Genuinely, none of these things are anyone's business. And I'm not going to turn against Pete. He's not going to turn against me. You can keep trying. It's not going to happen. AR, get stuffed. Okay, goodbye. Yeah, of course it bothers me that people invade my privacy. Sorry, I don't want negative people in my circle at all, period. Goodbye.
Okay, well then you are fucking done for, old girl, because you the most negative one in this entire circumstance. You are actually the root of the negativity. So you're screwed.
If you want to defend that kind of behavior, goodbye. Go watch them then. I don't care. No, I'm not mad at Pete's at all. I'm not mad at Pete's. No animal abuse. Lies. Her nails overgrowing while I was away and then me going to deal with it when I got back is not animal abuse. Idiot.
Yes, it is.
And try to get my microphones wherever they are.
Yes, it is.
I'll be right back, okay? Give me like a few minutes.
Oh, this one. I have been to all 50 states, Mexico, and Korea. Look at you, Heidi, Miss World Traveler. Girl, she's pissed all the way around about everything. Capone, I ain't gonna take it no lie. I picked it because when I saw it, I laughed. I couldn't help myself. Couldn't help it. Really?
Is that better? Testing, read all about it.
We're gonna turn her down now.
Okay. Yes,
I'm waiting on it.
Carolina and Vancouver mods. Yeah. So we can hear every breath. Yeah, I know. That's the only problem. You're going to hear every single breath. Into her chat and say that this shameful. That okay. The tea with the tech ads. It's actually very shameful that people have the nerve to go into her chat and say that this YouTuber is problematic. Why would I be problematic when you are the ones reporting her? I did nothing to her channel. So how is it me that's the problem? Idiots. That's what. So
they're reporting her for violating TOS just like you've done. But you are the problematic one, and nobody would have had any idea who this woman was if it hadn't have been for you going into her channel and trying to weasel subs out of that situation. But, we don't want to talk about that, do we?
Anyways, that's fine. Whatever. I mean, you're not going to affect me. It's not my channel. I don't care. If I was just going to these people just for subs, like not just, I wanted to support and try to get support from a different community than just these vultures. I'm sorry. Anyway, some of these people have 5 people in their chat at one time.
Agreed.
Some people have, that's fine. She can curse me. I don't give a crap.
Right.
Hi, Eva. Some people have at the most 20, 30. That's it. Okay. So it's no scandal. I didn't get all these subs from that sub for sub. There's no way because I've grown almost 2,000 subs.
This woman that she's talking about has something like 32,000 subs, something like that. She's got quite a bit. Secondarily, if you're saying that you didn't get all of these subs, that you've collected over the last week and a half, 2 weeks from sharing like that, then are you telling us without telling us that you bought some of them things? Because I can guarantee you ain't nobody out here watching bought you subs. I honestly kind of hope she did. Her idea of support is one-sided trifling heifer. Sorry, was lurking in lurk mode. Had to check to make sure we were really getting snow again. Oh, wow. I do not envy you that. Girl, I'm fixing to have a whole week's worth of rain. I am not looking forward to that at all. Right. I'd rather, girl, I would live stream setting some money on fire before I gave that heifer any subs, whether they were real or not. I mean, I won't even click on none of her videos just to avoid giving her a view. So I sure as crap. Ain't fixing to give that girl, ain't fitting to put no money into her. And Frenchie has 32K as well. That was a dig at smaller channels. Well, that's all well and fine. She keep on playing. She ain't going to have a channel. Because as soon as YouTube starts looking into that, because she's going to want her play button so that she can have something to rub in people's faces, she might well be without a channel for long. Between the view, the sub for sub, and the fact that she's miraculously gaining 100 followers at a time that she can't account for. No, you can't. I mean, not without it causing issue, because honestly, I mean, hang on. Let's do some research. We finna do some research, y'all. Let's look. Buying YouTube, subscribers and watch times. Let's do just subscribers. We ain't worried about the watch time, because people do that shit trying to get their stuff. Buy YouTube subscribers. There's, okay. Quantity, let's say 100. 550. YouTube channel link. I guess you could, because I mean, it's just asking for a channel link. So I suppose it's possible, but I don't know anybody desperate enough or foolish enough to actually spend money on somebody they hate, even if the mean, it's a means to an end. You know what I'm saying? I honestly believe that it's one of the two of them doing that, not anybody out here. Nobody out here gives a shit, because if anything, having her continue to hover around 98,000 in perpetuity would have been enough, because you know how badly she wanted that 100,000. Okay. Nobody's going to help her do that. Right. They absolutely can, which is kind of what I am hoping for. She's going to put in that paperwork for that play button. There's no question about it. Like I said, she wants it. She wants to be able to hold it in the camera and say, see, you know? Right. Yep. Let's see what Gail said. Krista has that was an unusual thunderstorm we had today. Now we're under a special weather statement. Huh. As much as I don't like the winter weather, I'd rather it be and stay cold and snowy now. So we have a really nice spring and summer. See, I'm past it. She doesn't have a VPN. Hell, she can't even spell VPN, and whatever she has done, it will reflect on her. Exactly. That's the thing. No one is buying subs for her unless Pete's did it and he's broke. Right. I mean, it's either one of the two weak-willed pussy boys she's got in proximity. You know what I'm saying? And that's about all. Or it's her. Those are the choices, because nobody else is going to do that. I bet she thinks the play button will keep Scatman interested in her. She is using it to prove to him she's famous. That she's... Play button don't mean nothing when you ain't got no views. Maybe. But even then, if she's... maybe, but honestly, the entire party, whether it's Pissy Poo or it's the Cook Boys or this jarhead right here, none of them are intelligent enough to understand that once they go through that process, she's going to be eliminated. Between the fact that she's got all these excessive subs that aren't tied to active accounts, the fact that she's already been booted from the YouTube system, which disqualifies her by itself, the sub for sub thing. I mean, all of it is going to come back to bite her in the ass. I'd say I hope you stay safe, but you have me blocked, so I won't. Oh, too late. Sorry about that. You got to be quicker on the uptake, Capone. Sorry.
So, yeah. What they did to you both was vile. Exactly. Hi, Anna. And they have the nerve to go warn her about me? I did nothing but try to promote her channel and support her as a small channel.
Ma'am, you was over there begging for them last 800 subs. And we ain't here mentioning that woman until after all this came out. Ooh. Kid Blanca done said it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. She probably got a lot of real subs because of Snowflake too. He has a following that doesn't know her yet. She is big mad about it. True enough. Hi, Clark. Just finished some fried chicken, mashed red potatoes, and now it's ice cream time. That actually sounds really good. I am going to have to throw together me a little pizza bowl for tomorrow. But other than that, I had a half a hamburger and a protein shake. But think about it, Pissy Poo's husband's job, they would have a VPN. Pissy Poo was apparently in her live stream and the first Twitch. I'll be curious to see if there's any interaction between the two of them. She may be trying to get back into Chantal's good graces, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Let's continue.
They're the ones who are going there saying, reported you, you're supporting Foodie Beauty, or you're supporting Everyday Miriam, but they're the ones reporting her. Like, they're so, like, mental. Like, there's no other word for it.
They're reporting her because she's a scammer, just like you, and because she chooses to affiliate with you, that makes her probably as shady as you. I mean, it's not rocket science.
Whatever. They think that's going to affect me. It doesn't affect my channel at all. Did it affect my channel in any way? No. I don't even know this person, so they're mad at me. And, okay. Hi, Teardrop. You're not going to get to me. You can just get a life and give up now, because it's not going to happen, no matter what you do.
Honestly, I'm going to say this, and this will be the end of that little section there for me. I don't really give two shits whether or not her channel goes down in flames or not, because if she stays on, even though she's a vile piece of shit, honestly, watching her eat herself into an early grave and watching her diabetes take her out is probably going to be a hell of a lot more entertaining than her YouTube channel just getting zapped, if that makes sense. She did. And from what I understand, the lady went through and wiped her channel completely clean of all the videos that she's had up, which is probably about a year's worth of content. I wonder if she came back or just switched back to her main account. I don't know. Apparently so. She's creeping back in. I love it when I love her rages where she waves her hand. It makes her look like she's. I'm not going to say that because that'll get me in trouble. I'm just not going to say it. It makes you feel any better. Capone never blocked you. I've never blocked anybody. Pissy is definitely back just to her main channel. Oh, Christ. That's just what we needed. All right. So, talking about Mr. Snowflake real quick. I noticed that there's been a lot said about Mr. Snowflake since before this episode on Chantal come out. All of a sudden, there is a lot of people talking about his past, the things that he said. There was comments made about him flirting with people in Narc Alert's Discord, him sharing provocative pictures, which to me was really hysterical because I've seen them and they're not provocative in the slightest. It was his pants and the bottom half of his cardigan. Apparently they were talking about bulges and prawn and some other stuff. And people were calling him creepy, saying he's a married man. He shouldn't be flirting with people. I'm going to say this, okay? No matter your circumstances, whether you're married, whether you have children, whatever, to flirt is a part of human nature. Whenever you get attention that makes you feel good about yourself, you are generally going to respond, okay? Now, the difference is whether or not you act on it, whether or not you push it too far, you know? But I found this. I found this right here, and this right here, this word right here, y'all see that? The see you next Tuesday got made there was a huge discussion around that, about him calling a woman that word, okay? And I was reading all that. And it's just like, is anybody taking into consideration that the gentleman is from Great Britain at all? I asked that question because that word is used not only toward women, it is used toward everybody. To give you an example, and this is probably going to get this video demonetized, but whatever, I don't care. I love this show, and I love Ricky Gervais. This is from a show that's on Netflix. It's called Afterlife. And in this show, there's a section here that I ain't going to tell you no lie. I laughed so hard, I cried over this section. Okay?
Hi, George.
Hi. Who's that? He's my uncle. Pedo!
What?
Pedo!
I'm not a pedo, and if I was, you'd be safe, you tubby little ginger cunt. Well,
so, yeah. I mean, it is used toward anybody, male, female, old, young, it doesn't matter. People call each other that when they're fucking with each other, when they can be laughing and call each other that word, just because the Westerners have associated that word as a negative word or an insult. An insult does not necessarily make it so for the entirety of the rest of the world. You know what I mean? But there was a whole conversation about him being a misogynist and him disliking women because of that particular word. And I'm sorry, but I'm just going to say it. She is one. She is one. I mean, let's be real. I mean, that is the most accurate description of her that I have ever seen. It is exactly like we used her biatch. Hi. Can I help you, Dusty Butt? You going to pick a spot? Where are you going? Hi. Right. Just that's exactly between just the way he said that and the little boy's response. I could not help it. I laughed so hard I cried. Just to give y'all a quick summary on that movie. I'm on that show. It's on Netflix. In the show, Ricky Gervais's wife dies. And at one point, he actually plans on unaliving himself. And the only thing that stops him is his dog comes to him and is telling him it's time to eat. So he puts away the medication he was going to use to unalive himself, and he gets up and feeds the dog, and then he goes to bed. And the next day, he pulls that bottle back out again. And ultimately taking care of the dog is what keeps him going for the longest time. Of course, he goes through depression. He goes through grief. The entire movie is about the grieving process and losing someone that you care about. And in the show, his wife, she knew that she was dying, and she started making a video journal talking to him, and he would watch these movies at home by himself. It's actually a show. It's on Netflix. It's called Afterlife. And it's a really, really, really good show. I watched it before my mom passed, and then I went back and watched it again after. And it's just like, it's a really, really good show, you know. Right. It don't matter. They mess with each other. It is just a generally used term. And for some reason, I don't think anybody is taking into consideration that he's from the UK, where that term is so broadly used. Whereas in the US, you only use it in malice, kind of like DC does, because DC is the only one in girl world that has a tendency to sling that around like confetti, you know. She should be more offended by what she's done to her body than what people say about it. I agree wholeheartedly. I'm 63. The thought of mortality comes up frequently. Well, I'm going to tell you, I mean, it's going to sound really wild. Mortality has been something that has been perpetually on my mind since I was in my 20s. You know, once I started working in nursing, and, you know, before that point, obviously, when you're young like that, you don't think you're ever going to die because you're young and your whole life's ahead of you, and you just don't see that it's possible. But when you work in the medical field, and you see how young people can be and they die, and it brings your mortality to the forefront of your thoughts, like all the time. And for a while, especially early in, I grappled with it. You know, I had a really hard time accepting it. And I was terrified of dying because all I could think is I don't want to die alone. But over time, you know, and experience and actually losing someone who I care about, you know, I recognize that my time is coming. There's no question about that. And eventually, no matter how you put it, even if you're on hospice and you're in a room full of people, you're still dying alone. That's just the way that it goes. You know, you can't take anyone with you. So you are always going to be alone, you know. And, you know, I think for me now, in relation to all that, my biggest worry is like, if something happened to me, what would happen? What would happen to this little turd? What would happen to little mama? What would happen to Romeo? You know, and ideally, what happens for me is that I'm not so much worried about dying. I'm more worried about what happens to my kids and my house and all that stuff. And I'm doing everything that I can to make it possible for they have everything that they need, and that hopefully they will all end up somewhere where they're being loved and taken care of, like Pix's house. I'll turn Pix into a cat lady overnight. I'm just kind of letting go of the rest of it, you know, especially since now that my mom is gone, I'm just kind of like, you know what, if it happens, it happens. It come what may, come when it may, it'll be all right. And I mean, it is a dark conversation, and I'm not trying to like Debbie Downer nobody, but like I was telling somebody, we were talking about it at work the other night. There's a book, and I told you guys about it at one point. Let me find that. The name of the book is called Proof of Heaven, and it's written by Eben Alexander. He's a neurosurgeon, and the book is about the near-death experience that he had while after he contracted a rare strain of bacterial meningitis. And he was a man who did not believe in the spiritual. He did not believe in afterlife experiences because he was very much a man of science. And he believed that, everything that these patients were telling him had some sort of biological relationship. That it's because of the lack of oxygen. It was because of bleeding. It was because of X, Y, and Z. But then he went through it and he lived through it and came out the other side. And now he has actually turned that. I mean, obviously he's still a neurosurgeon, but he has turned that into his field of expertise now. And he talks to people all day long, all the time, that have had the same experiences as him, and trying to find the commonalities in people's experiences. And I read that book ages ago, years and years ago. And not long after I read that book, my oldest aunt, who's no longer with us, she came over because she lived over here where I'm at now. But my mom had her transported to where I moved from, and she was staying at the hospital, the local hospital, so that my mom could manage her care and get her adequate therapy. But me and my aunt I would go and see her, and we'd spend hours together. And I talked to her about that book, and she said, "Oh, well, would you bring it to me so I can read it? It sounds really good." And I brought it to her, and she read it over the course of the next day. And when I went and saw her again, she held the book up and she tapped it with her finger. She said, "Every bit of this is true." Because at one point, a couple of years prior, my aunt did die. She died, and she suffered a heart attack and she died. And CPR and all life-saving measures were performed, and they resuscitated her. But she told me, she said, when I was gone, she says, I was in such a place of happiness and peace that when I opened my eyes and I realized that I was back, she said, I was angry. She says, I was angry at everyone involved that helped bring me back here. She says, things are not the way that they seem. She says, everybody is afraid of dying. She says, but there's no reason to be. She says, there are so many other things that lay ahead for us that we have to look forward to, but we're afraid of it. She says, there's no need. And after my mom passed away, I read the book again. And I ain't gonna tell y'all no lie. I boohoo cried like a little girl through whole sections of it. But at the end of it, I was like, okay, come what may, come when it may, I'm as ready as I'm going to be, I mean, obviously I'm not going to just give up on life, and I'm not going to stop doing the things that need to be done. And, I'm still going to take care of myself. I mean, I want the rest of my life, despite everything, to be the best of my life. There's still so much that I want to do, things that I want to see, experiences that I want to have, and that's the way it should be. But whatever happens, happens. Because, I mean, realistically, it's just one more thing outside of my control. All I can control is me and what I do with myself until the time comes. I am not sure I can depend on my daughter, and sis is 10 years older. Well, I'm sure you'll be able to figure something out, Charlotte. I have faith in that. No, geez, if I had the space, I would have a no-kill shelter sanctuary. Me too. If I won the lottery, that would be what I would probably end up with. I would have a whole domesticated animal sanctuary. Horses, goats, cats, and dogs, you name it, I'd have it. I used to make deliveries to several senior living facilities and get to be friends with some of the people there. It sucked because they were always leaving, but it was worth it to know them. You get to have all sorts of interesting conversations with older folks, and they don't have any filter, so they give it to you straight every time. The reason I rode with my husband in the truck is because we don't have to pay rent, so we can save and buy property where I can start an animal rescue. That is amazing, and I am looking forward to that for you and for those babies that you're going to be helping. Exactly, Mouse Toes. How you doing, by the way? Good to see you. None of us get out of it alive. Better make the most of it while we got it, you know? My mom and dad said that when they die at their request, they do not want, they don't, or they do want a DNR. They said that when they die at their request. Oh, they do not want a DNR? If they don't have a DNR, that means they get CPR. So if they don't want CPR, then they need a DNR. Just it may be confusing. The other thing too, just so people know, having a DNR does not mean that you're just giving up on. I mean, it just means that, everything else will continue to be done as usual. If you get medication that you're supposed to have, you'll get that medication. If you need pain medication, you get that pain medication. Everything that is done as it's supposed to be done. But when the time comes that your body decides to stop, then we don't do anything to try to restart it. That's all a DNR does. I guess maybe I need to do like an educational thing on that to help people understand what's involved with that, because a lot of people that I've dealt with, they assume that a DNR means that we just throw you in a bed and we just kind of leave you to your devices and that we don't do anything for you. That's not the way that it goes. We continue to take care of you. We just do what we can to make you as comfortable as possible till whenever your time comes. That's all. Right. Do not resuscitate. If we don't want it done, you don't want it done, we're not going to do it. I'll never forget my dad's last words to me. What are you doing with it? Clark, that's wrong. I love morbid humor, y'all. I'm sorry. Once I'm over a certain age, I do not want to be resuscitated. It puts the body through a lot. Right. And that's what I was saying. I think maybe I need to do like an educational video on a DNR or something to kind of break it down in such a way. Well, in a situation like an accident or something like that, then yes, that they have to, unless you keep that paperwork on your person, unless you have a copy of your DNR with you, then they have to. They can't not do it. What they have to do is they start CPR on you and then they take you to the hospital. And if the hospital has a copy of your paperwork, they can stop. They can stop CPR. But EMS, they can't. They have to, unless you have paperwork on you. Well, the thing is that it has to be on a particular form. You can't just trust me. I've seen people with tattoos that have literally still had CPR done to them. You got to find, there's got to be some kind of way to make it possible, so that it's accessible. In case you don't want it, but because of the way the system is set up, it's still possible that they could try to resuscitate you. I've seen it done. Okay, so chest compressions for CPR can do so much damage, especially to the elderly. Sometimes it's kinder not to put them through it. I agree. And it's been a little bit of time, thankfully, that it's been a little while. I agree. It should, but that would make too much sense. Exactly. That paperwork, that DNR form is legal documentation. And without it, they have to do everything that is required until they actually have the paperwork saying, here's the legal form that says no. Because otherwise every single person who's touched them, they could go to jail. Nobody wants to go to jail. So there you go. But I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. It's been quite a while since the last time I've had to do CPR on somebody. And the last person that it was a frail 98-year-old African-American lady. Her rib cage was probably about this big around. Y'all see how big my head is? It's bigger around than my head. And in order to do CPR correctly, you're going to break ribs. You know, that's just par for the course. The amount of pressure you have to exert to make the heart beat. It's just the way that it goes, you know. And this poor little old lady, this poor little frail lady, she did not make it, even though we did CPR on her and EMS did CPR on her. But by the time it was all said and done, half of her rib cage was concaved because we were putting pressure on her rib cage, and all those little bones all through the body get fragile as you age, but the ones in the ribs especially. So there, even if they had brought her back, she would have been miserable. She would have been in so much pain. And, you know, at 98 years old, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, to me, it didn't make any sense that her family wanted her to have CPR. I mean, she lived to be almost a century old. Y'all let her be comfortable and warm in her bed, you know. Every time I brought my dad to the hospital for treatment, good on you, SH. That's what, as somebody who has been in various situations, I am hella proud of you for doing that, because, you know, having to make decisions that you know that the patient doesn't want simply because you don't have the paperwork there, it is a really gut-wrenching thing to have to go through. You know what I mean? Because you know that it's not what the patient wants, but because of the legalities, you know, you have to. Right. I agree. It was just simply her time, you know, and I'm of the mind that I would rather have somebody be comfortable and go peaceful. But, you know, CPR, even though it is life-saving, it is incredibly traumatic. There was something that I saw that I missed. Let me back up here. All I saw was Salty's bucket list, so I had to go back. Pet Malibu and get the best damn poutine ever. That sounds good. That's going on the list, y'all. Them's going on the list. Okay, so now that we have covered some fuckery that we are familiar with, let's talk about some that we're not familiar with, y'all. There has been a whole thing on TikTok that I found interesting. I've listened to some of it.
Tell the story of how
So I figured we would do some of it together. Now, mind you, you know TikTok only give you a 3-minute video clip. So old girl's got something like 50 of them because she's telling it in chapters per videos. You know what I mean? I understand when people get older, people think, man, they've lived a good life. But the fact is, it's their life, their decision, and not some stranger's decision. I agree wholeheartedly with that, you know, but unfortunately you do have those people who kind of tell their families, you know, well, I don't want this and I don't want that, but they don't put it in writing. You know what I mean? And it has to be in writing because the family members will get emotional in the moment and will say, you've got to save them. You've got to save them. And so long as the paperwork is there that expresses that the patient does not want it happening, then that saves the patients themselves from the trauma of it all. But if it's left to the family members, which is ultimately with certain communities, that happens a lot. It's left to the families who will do that. And they expect you to save them no matter what kind of condition they're in, even though, you know, sometimes it is just not physically possible. You could do everything right, push every medication, you know, defibrillate them over and over and over again. Sometimes the body just gives up and there is nothing that you can do. And they get angry with you because you couldn't save them, you know, and it's a really hard situation to be in. But I do agree, you know, that the patient's wants and wishes should be the priority. I highly recommend everyone learn CPR on adults and children. I do have to do CPR on a baby that nearly drowned in the river. I've never been so happy to have baby vomit in my mouth. God bless you, Heidi. I agree wholeheartedly. I think it's really beneficial for everybody to be able to have that so that they're aware, because you never really know when you're going to need it. And I'm with you. I have done all of them too, but I've got like the advanced training on them too, because I have to have them. Who is this? Who did I marry about DV and SA? I will have to dip if so. No, it doesn't involve DV or SA. It has to do with narcissistic manipulation. I don't believe it has anything to do with DV and SA. I mean, I've listened to quite a few of them, but she married a man and found out she didn't know nothing about him and that he'd been lying to her forever. Honestly, I still can't say the story of that day to save the baby without crying. It is still one of those most emotional things that I have ever done. And it was over 20 years ago. Well, I'm going to tell you, and I don't speak for Krista on this, but I absolutely, seeing that Krista's another nurse, I can't speak for Krista, but I can speak for me. I've got to say that for me, the greatest high I have ever experienced is saving someone that way. You know, having somebody that you know actually wanted to be brought back, putting in the work and having their heartbeat start again. Every single time I have ever been in that position where we have saved somebody, I walk around for hours. I mean, hours later. And where I feel like I'm just kind of floating on air. I am in the best mood. Now, I have had people tell me, like there was a gentleman that I worked with years ago when I ran the medical department at the chicken plant. The guy that worked directly with me was a safety manager. We had somebody go down in the plant having a heart attack, and my training kicked into place. And I'm like, I need this, I need that, I need this. And we're doing CPR on the man. EMS showed up and out he went. And he and I sat down probably about 2 hours later after I got all my paperwork and on the situation dealt with. And he said, I don't know you. He said, who are you? And I said, what are you talking about? He said, when somebody said that he was on the floor and he wasn't breathing, he says, your personality completely changed. He says, you were usually a very upbeat person. You're all smiles. You're very talkative. He says, you had like this veil drop over you. He says, you were very calm, very cool, very collected. He says, I'm very methodical. He says, it didn't matter what happened. He says, it was like you were in a zone. He says, and now that all of it's passed, he says, that veil is gone. He says, and you're yourself again. He said, but you're even more upbeat and happy. He says, you are almost, he says, elated. He said, who are you? He says, I have never seen that before with anybody. He says, that is crazy to me. See, it's good to know that I'm not alone. See, Krista feels me. And I know Heidi feels it too. It is a very emotional thing. But right after you're just like, I have equated it to, you kind of feel like from that point, you have that time period where you feel like you are so connected to the entirety of the world around you. Because you have saved somebody whose time it wasn't their time yet, and it is intoxicating for a little bit. You feel so incredibly powerful, even though you are simply doing what you are trained to do. Your training has kicked in, but once you get that result, it is unbelievable, y'all, unbelievable. There is no drug or substance on the planet that could match that feeling. I have figured that out, it was crazy. It was crazy. The baby's family didn't speak English. And I don't speak Spanish. I had to mime to them that I could help. And when he lived, I held his mom and cried with her because it was undescribable. That it's a you had like this feeling of overwhelming kind of relief, right? I could see that. I haven't been CPR certified since high school. You absolutely should, SH. You never know, you know. How interesting. A plant nurse. Spent 18 years in a factory. They got rid of the position when corporate America got greedy. Actually, believe it or not, Charlotte, the company that I worked for was a corporate American company. They're actually, I think they're based out of South America, but the corporate office is in Colorado, and they do lamb, beef, chicken, and pork. But the plant that I worked at was specific to chicken. Y'all fitting to have to deal with me in a tank top. Sorry about it. Y'all just I'm sweating. But yeah, we were there for like first aid and emergencies and stuff, you know, and I dealt with all their workers' comp stuff. God bless them. Bless their hearts. It's a feeling I'll never forget 20 years later, and I still feel it to this day. Yep. And imagine now, Heidi, people like me and Krista, we fortunately and unfortunately end up in those situations all the time. But that same feeling, we get to experience that all the time too. Yes, that's Boo Man. Wait, hang on. Let me take the He stopped snoring for a second, but that's him. Mine made bags of meat. That's pretty cool. My dad actually, I'm real familiar with food processing because like years ago, before my dad became a nurse, he used to work for Dixie Packers, and you know they did hot dogs and bologna and stuff like that. I thought it was my dog snoring. It's Salty's cat. Yeah. Boo Man he is a snorer, and he has a very, very loud motor. I mean, you guys know he's our ASMR professional here. I worked ICU. We were the hospital code team, and we took the patient after if necessary. See, so Krista's probably done more CPR than I have, to be truthful. A lot of mine, you know, I kind of hit the ground running, and as time has passed, how often I have to do it kind of tapers down because of the environments that I've worked in. But I went into the ER right off the get, you know, and it was one of those situations where you were like doing it, you were coding people all the time. So I absolutely love that story. Thank you for sharing it. I had to hold the laptop up to my ear to figure out it was Boo Man. Oh, yeah, it's Boo. It's the Boo Man snoring. And he'll probably start snoring again in a minute. Okay, so now that we have talked about why everybody needs to be CPR certified, let's get into some drama, y'all.
The fuck did I marry? I'm going to create this playlist series, and I'm going to tell the story of how I met, dated, married, and divorced a real pathological liar.
Have a good night,
This is
Pix.
my introduction / disclaimer video. First and foremost, I'm going to be truthful, even if it makes me look bad.
All right, I'm going to jump to the first.
But I'm also not going to be disrespectful. Use the hair. But here is part one of Who the Fuck Did I Marry? So I met my ex-husband around March 4th of 2020. We met on Facebook dating site, and we also matched on Hinge. I did not realize that he was on both under two different names. So
red flag.
So one was his actual name, and the other one was a variation, like a nickname that he called himself. Different pictures. So it was a running joke between us. Oh, you ain't even recognize that you had matched with me on Hinge. No, I didn't. And also that should have been a red flag. By the way, you will notice in this story, I called it the United Nations of red flags. It is so many red flags that, I mean, you would have thought I was colorblind because I ignored all of them. So anyway, back to the story. We met around March 4th. We exchanged phone numbers. He called me and we talked on the phone for the first time. In the first phone call, he told me that he had just moved to Georgia from California, from San Diego. His job had transferred him because he was being transferred in as the new regional manager for a major condiment company that is based here in Georgia. I'm not going to say the name. And so we also talked about his childhood. He told me he grew up in Philly. He's from Philly. Both of his parents were deceased. This is the first phone call. Both of his parents were deceased. His father was a Philadelphia police officer. His mom was a teacher. He also told me he briefly lived in Augusta with his family. He had 2 brothers and 2 sisters. He also had 2 half-brothers on his dad's side. First phone call. So I'm just giving you guys the backstory. This was the first phone call we had. So we talked about family. We talked about friends. We talked about our jobs. At the time, I was working at Georgia State Patrol. And he knew this, and he just thought that was like, wow, so you work with troopers all day. Yes, I did. Also in that phone call, he explained to me that he used to play football. He explained that he used to play arena football. I know nothing about arena football. I know about NFL. I know about college. Go Dogs. But I don't know anything about arena football. So he explained to me that he used to play arena football. He used to work at Apple in the off season of arena football. And I remember thinking on that phone call, oh, okay, good for you. I don't know anything about arena football. And I believe I did tell him that I don't know anything about arena football. That'll come into play later on. So he told me, I just moved here. My job is paying for my housing and they're helping me to look for a house. He was like, right now I'm in Gwinnett County, but I'm trying to look for a house, ideally in Atlanta, like Brookhaven, Sandy Springs. He was like, I really would like to move out there. And so I thought, that's great. You're looking to get a house. You just moved here. He was like, I don't really know too many people here because I spend all my time at work and, this job is really demanding. So that was our first phone call. We talked more. He talked a lot, which took me by surprise because I'm not really used to men talking more than me. He eventually asked me out on a date. Our first date was set for Saturday, March 7th, 2020. He asked me what was my favorite restaurant. I said Cheesecake Factory. And so we agreed to go out at the Cheesecake Factory in a location that was in between. I lived in Clayton County at the time. He lived in Gwinnett County. I realized that if you don't know anything about Metro Atlanta, that makes no sense. But basically, we lived about 45 minutes apart. So we agreed to meet at the Cheesecake Factory over at Perimeter Mall, which is in an area, Sandy Springs, Dunwoody area. I was excited. Like, I called my friends and was like, I got a date, blah, blah, blah. We'll see how it goes. First conversation was good. Hopefully he looks like his pictures because, that's always an issue with online dating. Hopefully he looks like his pictures. So on my way
it is absolutely awful. I have dealt with that where I have met people and they didn't look nothing like the pictures they've had posted. It is awful.
To our date, I took 285 and literally right before I got to Boulder Crest, the exit for Boulder Crest, I heard a boom and I lost control of my car. Thank God that not thank God, but I knew what to do. So I did not crash, but my tire blew out. So I called him and I said, hey, I am so sorry, but my tire just blew on 285. I'm slowly making my way off the exit. I believe I pulled into a Chevron gas station. And I said, I got to get this fixed. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm a damsel in distress kind of thing.
Not I. Sorry. I'm just not built like that. It'd be a text. Hey, had a blowout. I'm getting it fixed. I'll keep you posted.
Kind of paused. He got quiet and he was like, tell me exactly where you are. Drop your pen. So I dropped the pen and he came to the gas station. Got out the car, and I was so relieved that he actually looked like his pictures that I was like, oh my God, he's actually attractive. Because he's like 6'4", 6'5". Also,
I ain't mad at that. I love me a tall man.
and I apologize. So let me go back to the first conversation. Let me add something. He did tell me in the first phone call that he was divorced, and that his ex-wife, she had 2 children, a boy and a girl, who were teenagers, young adults. I think the girl was about 20, and he said that he had a very close relationship with his stepkids, but that he and his ex-wife had divorced because she cheated on him out in California, and so coming to Georgia was a new beginning for him. She was still out in California. The kids were still out in California. And so, he was like, I can't stand her, but I still want to be in the kids' lives. I have to put that in there because that will come back later. So this is just setting the stage. Again, right. That first conversation was, we talked about family, job, friends, how he ended up in Georgia, me being in Georgia, the things that, I would think people talk about in the first conversation. All right, now back to the tire blew out. So he shows up to the gas station. He changes my tire.
That's my problem.
Which I just thought was the sexiest thing in the world. And then he proceeds.
On that, I can wholeheartedly agree with her. Okay. I ain't saying, like, when I said that I would be like, hey, look, I had a flat. I'm working on it. I'll let you know what's up. If old dude said, hey, tell me where you are, and he come and do that, I ain't going to tell you no lie. I love me a masculine man. I love me a man that's got some chivalry built in. I can't falter that, okay? I'm going to tell y'all. I'm going to tell you. Now, we talked about it when I had the gazebo put up in the backyard. Well, how I was around good-looking men all day. Even the daddy of the bunch, he's in his 60s, an Asian man. He's a nice looking man for his age too. And I'm going to tell you, okay, I had them come out and help me put this shed up, and the young man, who I'm sure is younger than me, I just don't know how much. He is so adorable to me. He is incredibly nice. He is a nice looking man. And he is just cute to me, just all the way around cute to me. But the fact that he is so incredibly masculine, he is one of them. He's like, I would come out there to help. He's like, nope, I got it. He's like, you let me tend to that. The only time he didn't tell me no was when we were putting up the gazebo, because he realized he needed the extra pair of hands, so he let me do. But with smaller stuff that he don't need, he's not painted into a corner. He's like, you let me deal with it. And see, that to me is cool, because I'm so used to taking care of everything by myself that having somebody else say, nope, I got this. You let me worry about it. That to me is an incredibly attractive thing. So even though, and as bad as it sounds, I'm paying these gentlemen to come out here, it's still nice to be able to go, look at all these nice looking men taking care of my honey-do lists. One less thing that I ain't got to do. But yes, I love me a masculine fella that is capable. Can't help myself. Right. I really don't care about height as long as he's my height or taller, but I do like it when a man can make me physically small, like he'll protect me. See, and that's the deal for me. When I say that I love tall men, I'm 5'10". So if I find a dude that's taller than me, obviously it's going to be an attractive thing for me, because 9 times out of 10, I am usually having guys that are interested that are 5'8" and 5'7", 5'6", like shorties in comparison to me. And I'm with you. To me, having a taller man, unless you're a very masculine type as a shorter man, it's really hard to make me feel feminine when you're shorter than me. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. one of the 1 million reasons I got divorced. I got tired of babysitting. Oh, same. An army ranger. I'm bi, attracted to very masculine men, but I prefer feminine women. I mean, I will date truly anyone I truly like, no matter what they are, but I do still have preferences. Agreed. I mean, to me, that makes perfect sense. You're going to have preferences, but apparently in this day and age, having preferences makes you a bad guy, which is really kind of weird. Agreed, but I still feel guilty when people do things for me, even though they offered. Right. Well, I mean, to an extent, yeah. Like, and that's kind of like, even though these guys, they can only come out when I contact them and I'm like, hey, I got a project. I need some help. You know, they know, number one, they know I'm going to pay them for their time, obviously. But while they're here, you know, I'm still kind of sort of taking care of them in the process. Like I'm bringing them bottles of water out and I'm asking them, do y'all need anything? You know, at one point, like I went to the store while they were right before they were getting started. And I went out there and I'm like, hey, I got to make a store run. Do you guys want anything? Do you guys need anything? And they were both like, oh, that's so nice of you. But no, we're good. We're good. We're fine. All's well, you know. I can't help it, especially since they're doing something that, you know, I know that it would take me forever to do if I did it by myself, which is what I'm accustomed to doing. I am used to tackling all of my projects alone and, or having to deal with my dad fussing the entire time he's helping me. Now I don't have to do that. I can just call them and say, hey, guys, I need a hand. When's a good time? And they come out. So I will forever be appreciative of them. I'm 5'4", so I don't expect a man to be a giant, but I do like when a man is strong or able to fix things or build stuff. Agreed. Wholeheartedly agreed. Wholeheartedly agree. I can let go of the height so long as the man is really masculine and capable. But if they're not that type and I'm still having to do shit for myself, then at the very least, I want you to be taller than me and actually physically make me feel more feminine, you know, if that makes sense. As crazy as that might sound weird, but let's continue.
To say, hey, I found a tire place around the corner. You need to get another tire. Like, you can't drive on this donut. So he followed me to the tire place and then helped me get a tire, paid for it.
Nope. Red flag for me. That is a red flag. You don't know me. You just met me. You not paying for my car. You not paying for a tire for me. Because honestly, I don't want that thrown in my face, especially not from a complete stranger. If that happened and it didn't work out, old boy would be a dick about it later on. There's no question. That is generally just how people are. Well, I agree. My deal is, though, mouse toes, is most of the men that I have been around with and been in relationships with were not geared that way. They wanted to do kind of what they wanted to do, but the rest of it, when I'm like, hey, I need XYZ, it would be like pulling teeth to get them to help me to do it. So I've gotten to a point where I am very geared that I do things myself. And I generally don't ask for help because of getting pushback when I do, or having to listen to my dad nitpick what I'm doing and how I'm doing what it is that I'm working on, or not having anybody to ask. So I mean, I get that, but not all men are wired that way. Only the good ones tend to be, but that's me, you know, and it absolutely does suck. I dated a guy who was 5'3"-ish. I found out pretty soon that he was very wealthy, but he would talk about his money a lot. I guess because his height was insecure and it was such a turnoff. It absolutely, see, I guess it could be a means of compensation, I guess. I eventually broke it off because of it. I truly don't care about money. Me either. I just want you to treat me right. I mean, obviously it would be nice to have somebody with money so that, you know, you don't have to worry about having to take care of them because they're capable of taking care of themselves. But, you know, I mean, it doesn't mean that much, you know, if you can't, I mean, I don't need you to be rich. I just need you to be capable of handling your business. So I don't have to, you know. Mouse toes. After first marriage, next my soulmate a 30-year cop. It was nice. He passed though. Bless your heart. I'm so sorry. That's amazing though. Hi, crab apples. How are you, sweetheart? I'm still waiting for the man I stopped talking to last February to help me change a few light bulbs. I can't reach my own. Girl, you better find you a step stool. No, over there walking around in the dark.
I was definitely like, wow. And so the vibe was good. So anyway, I get the tire fixed. We follow each other to the Cheesecake Factory over in Perimeter. We hold hands walking into the Cheesecake Factory. So in my mind, I'm like, this is just this. Oh my God, I had butterflies. That's the look of a woman who had butterflies. So I had butterflies. And we go in, there's a long wait. And so we sit outside and we just talk. And the conversation's great. And this is where he tells me what it is he's looking for. He tells me, I believe at the time he was 42. He was like, I want to get married and it'd be for real. He's like, my parents were married 40 plus years before my mom passed away. And I want that. I want marriage, family, a house. Like that is what I want. He's like, I'm as a man, I'm ready to get married, but I want it to be for real because the first time, it really hurt me when she cheated on me. So he's telling me everything that I wanted to hear. And so he was like, what is it that you want? And I said pretty much the same thing. I was like, I'm ready to get married. Definitely want to have a family. And I want to marry my best friend. So we both put on the table that we wanted marriage. And this is the end of part 1. All right. Who the fuck did I marry? Part 2. So we both put on the table what it is that we wanted. We both had established we were dating for marriage. We were not dating just to date. We were not trying to be friends with benefits and none of that. So the dinner at Cheesecake Factory went really well. We laughed, we joked, we talked about people, which is kind of up my alley, my sense of humor. It was a good vibe. So at the end of the date, at the end of dinner, we sat in his car and he played this song for me by John Legend. I don't know the name of the song. By the time this video posts, I will put the name at the bottom. I can't remember the song. I just remember that John Legend was talking about, I think I met my wife tonight. And I thought it was a sign. So I was like, oh my God. So anyway, we ended up sitting in the car talking just about life and experiences until about midnight. So during this conversation, he again is telling me how it was, what it was like living in California, how he went out there. He went to San Diego State. He played football for San Diego State. He talked about how, life, he loved it out there. So he stayed. That's when he joined the company. And then he explained that he also did arena football, but only did it for about 2 or 3 years. He claims that while he was doing arena football, the team that he was on won a championship. But again, keep in mind, I don't know anything about arena football. So I was like, okay, I didn't know they had championships. And he was like, he got a little offended, like, yeah, they got championships. And, he was on that team. So he talked to me about how he worked at Apple. He worked something in the IT area of Apple, but it was in the store. Again, it was one of those, it's like when I tell people I used to work at Amazon. I really wasn't paying much attention to it. Why? So we talked about all that. We talked deeply into what happened with the ex-wife. It's because I asked. He was not volunteering all this information. So in other words, I get very uncomfortable when men start talking about their ex a lot. That's not what happened. I was asking questions because I was really trying to figure out, okay, are you ready for a relationship, or are you still missing her? So we talked about that. We talked about my exes. That was a mistake I made, because I talked about how I dated at one point in time somebody I worked with. That will come back later. And he seemed real cool about it. He was like, that was before me and blah, blah, blah. So the conversation was good. Midnight comes and I go home. Yes, I went home. We ended up talking. Mind you, our first date was March 7th. And within about 2.5 weeks, Brian Kemp, our governor, shut Georgia down. We were going to be on lockdown. So during those 2.5 weeks, we talked every day. We went out again at Red Lobster. I remember Red Lobster. But everything was going great. The issue was, where are we going to quarantine? So the question was, are we going to quarantine at his place, which he had like a studio type of situation. Like, it clear where he was staying. I was like, it's like a studio apartment, but he kept telling me like, this is temporary because I'm looking for a house. Like, he showed me the email from a woman who worked at the company, where she was out on maternity leave, but she was putting him in contact with a realtor to help him find a townhome or a single family house. So I was just like, okay, this is definitely temporary. Like, he's not trying to stay here long term. And she was apologizing in the email. I'm so sorry, this should have been taken care of before you got here, but it wasn't. I saw the email. I read it. I read the email. So the decision was, we're going to quarantine at the studio, or are we going to quarantine in my house? First mistake I made. Well, there's a lot, but this was a mistake I made.
I am really glad that she acknowledges that, because I'm going to tell you, I don't care what's happening. I ain't fixing to bring a total stranger up into my house to stay with me. They're going to have to be some long-term going-ons before I even consider such a thing. For multiple reasons. I mean, obviously, there's a safety factor involved. Again, you don't know this man. All you know is basically what he's told you. Okay? I'm the type of person that I have dealt with so much nonsense over the course of my life that if I go out on a date with you, even before the first date with you, I'm going to know your first name, your last name. I'm running a background check on you. I'm checking on you. I'm gonna know something about you before I go meet you, because I don't know if you could be a damn serial killer as far as I know. I sure add to it. I have been by myself for so long, and just because of how I am, just as a generality, I am very specific about how my place is. Everything has a place. I want everything to be organized. I want everything to be clean. I want it how I want it. And you know that when you bring somebody else into your space, even if it's temporary, they come stay with you a couple of days, you know them, unless they are just like you and they have that tendency to want to maintain a certain level of neat, they generally don't put things back where they're supposed to be. And if you end up with somebody who ain't got no regard for that at all, you are going to be ready to snatch your hair out. So the fact is she was very, very quick to bring somebody into her house. I'm sorry, boo-boo. Me and you getting along great. We're going to keep talking because, I got to work. You got to work. Lockdown's coming through. Okay. And we'll figure it out. That would have been how I left it. You ain't coming up in my house and I don't know you like that. I'm sorry. Nope. Add to it. Once you bring them into your house and they start getting mail there, they got a toothbrush there, they got a pair of shoes there, guess what? That is their legal residence now. And you got to go through a whole bloody rigmarole to get them out. No. Nope. Hi, Busy. Sorry, I was on a rant, girl. That's a typical male response. If you don't want their D, it just means in their minds, if you just because you don't want they D, you must not want none. It's just like, could you please be more insecure, my guy? Just take the rejection like a man. Come on, y'all. I agree, especially nowadays, especially before living together. Facts. And that's, here we are. We watching a 50-part series on this woman finding out that she done went through some foolishness and she invited the man up into her house after knowing him for 2 weeks. Cray. Exactly. Yeah, yes, busy, honey. I figure we would take us. We talked about Chantal a little bit. We talked about Snowflake, Mr. Snowflake a little bit. And I pulled this because I was like, ooh, I watched the first couple of clips of this, and I was like, ooh, this will be a nice break from the usual. You know what I'm saying? Right. I didn't let people sleep over, much less move it. Right. You doing good if I let you sleep over at my house. Only people I am willing to allow that sort of thing would be, my family, my kin's allowed in my house, but and even certain ones of them, I'm hesitant, but I'll still let them in. But if I don't know you, you got to go. Nice visiting with you. I appreciate spending time with you. Have a nice night. I'll see you later. Get the fuck out, Girl, I ain't even watched it all. That's part of why we doing it, because I have a feeling it's going to be entertaining for everybody, Right. Exactly. Once you get them in there, you can't get them out. It don't matter what's going on. You stuck with them.
So, ladies, caution moment. During one of our dates, because keep in mind, in those 2 weeks, we were seeing each other quite a bit. Nothing physical or anything like that. Just two people who I thought were really on some. All right, let's see if this is going to grow into something. He came to my house. When he came to my house, I had a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath townhome. He was in a studio. Now, I'm telling you guys all of this in order of how it happened. So some things I'm probably going to insert what I was thinking and the mistake I made. Can I turn this on? No. Okay, I still need that. And I say that to say that I did not realize inviting him to my home.
I don't blame you.
Probably made his eyes go, oh shit, she's a keeper. She got this 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath townhouse, and I'm in like a little studio. Yeah, let me go ahead and pursue this. What I need to do to quarantine here. The decision was made, quarantine at my house. So the state went on.
Wouldn't be me.
Lockdown. He came and stayed with me in my home, and for the most part, in the initial beginning, it was fine. It was fine. The reason why I hesitate is because I grew up in the church. So for me, it was really like an internal struggle of, bruh, you always said you would never live with a guy unless he was your husband.
Ladies, between Foodie and this lady, let this all be a lesson for you. Do not compromise your ethics simply because of a man. Okay? A man will respect you more if you uphold your values and your ethics than he ever would to you caving to what he wanted in the moment. Whether it be living with you, sleeping with you, whatever. and it reduces the likelihood that you're going to get played. And at the end of it, you don't walk away feeling like a fool because you compromised what you believe in and your values at the end.
And now you living with a dude and he ain't your husband. Like, it was a struggle for me because I knew better. And don't come for me. I'm just telling you the way I grew up. It was like that. It was not sitting right with me. But at the same time, I didn't want to quarantine by myself. I did not want to. So there we go. So he moved in. We talked about the bills. Let me clear something up that I said in the other video where I said he paid all the bills. He paid all the household bills. He did not pay my car payment, my cell phone, or my car insurance. He paid the rent because my rent at the time was less than $1,000. He paid the utility bills. And so when he's telling me that he's a regional manager, I was like, wow, okay, so you got money. And so he paid all the household bills. So my check really was just taking care of me, myself, and I.
The way she says he was taking care of all the bills, all the household bills. I'm sorry. Just the way that she is saying it, like that's him making some sort of major concerted effort. Maybe it's just me, because I done been with some sorry ass people over the years, y'all. Sorry. At the bare minimum, if I'm letting you live in my house, you better be paying for something. And it ain't you doing me a favor neither. That's the equivalent of your rent. If I am stuck with somebody, you gonna be paying something. Oh, Lord have mercy.
And I am not, this is where it's not going to make me look good, but it's the truth. It was intoxicating to not have to worry financially about how to pay the bills. It was a wonderful feeling. And so I kind of pushed to the side the fact that, yeah, you shacking up, because it's like, but your paycheck, you don't have to worry right now. Like he's taking care of all of April's bills before April even comes, because this was still March. So we're living together and I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, he's helping to cook and clean. And then we have a conversation about house. Is he still going to buy a house just for him? Or is he going to buy a house where it's for us?
That conversation was too soon. And I would love to know. Hang on, let me back up. Did she start that conversation or did he?
Is he still going to buy a house? I'm cleaning. He's helping to cook and clean. And then we have a conversation about house.
Okay, see, then that makes me wonder who started that conversation. Because I'm sorry. Yet again, y'all don't know each other. Y'all just moved in together not knowing each other. I'm sorry. You fixing to find you your house. I might come over, stay with you here and there after we got some time in, but there would be no conversation about is this your house or is this our house, because it ain't been enough time and I don't know you well enough for it to be our house. So thus far, she ain't accounted for many red flags, but I've seen quite a few in such a short period of time. I mean, we're only 25 minutes in, okay, to a 5-hour long compilation. You feel me? It's like, bro.
We are going to try to make this thing work, be official, get married, have a family. So the question now on the table is, what are we going to do? Because I didn't want to stay in Riverdale, Georgia. I did not want to raise a family there. I refused to have a baby in Clayton County. So the decision was made, let's start looking for a house for both of us. Remember, he was already looking for a house for him. But then he was like, you know what? We're together. I plan to marry you. let's look for a family home for the two of us. He was like, this is how much I was approved for. That's when he showed me the Chase paperwork. It was
I'd be looking for the door, girl.
And it had the Chase emblem at the top. He showed me a letter stating that he was approved for $700.
All right. So real quick, y'all, we're gonna call an intermission on this. Okay. For those of y'all that have been with me on the live watching it thus far, and for anybody watching it later in the comment section, that is only 25 minutes of a 5-hour story. Okay. My question is, do y'all want to continue? If so, leave me a comment. Let me know. We will keep going. But we are 2 hours in. I got one more thing. Okay. And then I have got to call tonight because I got to go to bed. I got to be up at 5 in the a.m. Oh, yeah. Yeah, honey. 5 hours long. This is 50 TikTok, 3-minute TikToks, 50 of them compiled into one long video. This lady's story apparently is real wild. Hey, Grandma. Good to see you. So, yeah. Okay. We're going to do one more thing real quick. Me too. And I ain't seen this is, I've seen maybe one more clip past this one that we've watched. I started watching it and I was like, woo, red flag. Woo, red flag. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, we're gonna have to turn that into a thing. So we're gonna have to turn that into a thing and break it down and all that stuff. Right, but we all do. We all do. I can't tell you how many times I have. There's at least 2 relationships of mine. I ain't been in a lot of relationships, but 2 of them was, ooh, might as well have been a parade. There were so many flags flying. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. And I got to try to get in the bed and get some reasonable sleep and get up and function like a capable human being tomorrow. Cause this is the first day on this new job for training, which is funny because I'm basically just going to be following somebody around the whole day, you know? I tried to run a bath 30 minutes ago and the cat jumped in the tub. So I went to the couch. Now he's asleep in my lap and I still need to bathe. Girl, you should have just climbed in there with him. What I figured we would do is, you know, I love me some Pierre XO. I figured we would close it out on a Pierre positivity moment. Pierre has had him a good week. Title of his stream is Shedding Tears of Joy. Thank you so much for everything. Okay. And he has had him quite a chain of events lately. I figured we would celebrate his milestone with him and then we would wrap it up on a high note. So let's get into it.
By the way, ever since the last stream of just pure and utter happiness, I've tried to do absolutely nothing for the next few days because I am so overwhelmed. I am overwhelmed by many things right now, man. It's fucking crazy. So I tried to spend the next day doing absolutely nothing, and then I got more opportunities sent to me from the ether. I don't know how the fuck it happened. So then I was like, oh shit, I guess I got to do this too. But I was like in my PJs, I was in my sweatpants, and I was trying to just do nothing and meditate all day, and I was just trying to detach myself from all of the things that are happening so I don't get overwhelmed, just like peace and quiet. So that being said, this is a video that I made 6 years ago when I first landed in Prague. I lived in California at the time. I had just gotten out of a car accident, a very severe car accident. This car accident was I had 2 of them, very serious ones. One of them put the girl I was seeing in a wheelchair for about 6 months, where I had to go weekly, almost every day, actually. I had to go every day to see the girl I was dating, and she had broken her collarbone and her hip bone. And it was a very sad story, and I had to fix her catheter many times throughout this experience. She was in a wheelchair for about 6 months, but luckily she recovered. And from this situation, I had gained some money to potentially some insurance money. And this insurance money, I said I did not want to go and buy a new vehicle because I don't ever want to drive again. I'm going to go fly to Europe, and I'm going to see where I can potentially find my new home.
I know, right? I love it.
I flew to Prague, and I said, oh my God, this city is straight out of a fairy tale. It has everything that I absolutely want in my life. And I'm going to figure out a way one day to eventually move here. And this video, was made about maybe 2 months into staying in Prague and meeting just absolutely amazing people who gave me my first few opportunities to walk in a fashion show and just to have a good time in general. And I knew that I needed to make a video to commemorate this time where I first landed in this beautiful city. So this is me next to the TV tower or a submarine. I'm in a submarine.
Hey Pierre, it's your therapist. We're still waiting on a payment from last year's Hello, Mr. XO. This is your lawyer calling you about the car accident from last year.
True story.
Hi, Pierre. Where the fuck are you? Why are you running away? You know we're meant to be together. You know we're
Yeah, that happens. This is baby Prince of the Imaginary.
This is all you wanted, right? To be away from everything. So I'm gonna catch up to you one day. You can't keep running away from your problems. Watch me.
So as you can see, oh my God, I hope that the audio was not discentered. It was panned to the left. I hope it's now it's centered. So basically, this is me running through Prague and really enjoying myself as like a little I don't even know what you would even call this, a whimsical bohemian prince, enjoying this beautiful fairy tale of a city. And I was absolutely in awe of the city every single day. And now that 6 years later, I found a way to actually live here. And I live here. I'm in a tower right now. I'm literally living the prince life that I've ever wanted to live. And it was so hard to find this happen, to make this happen, man. Because I've always had trouble potentially making a serious income and affording my lifestyle and, all this social.
Real quick, SH, actually, there's a second channel of his where he talks about it in this live. He has one of the electric unicycles where he would go out and live stream as he's out in the city on the unicycle, and will go to all these different places. You get to see a really, really beautiful, beautiful town. A lot of the buildings are very old, like older era generation architecture. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
Social media stuff, the controversy and all of the criticism and all these things. So now that I'm here, I was Saturday. Was it yesterday? No, it was yesterday. Oh my Jesus. Yesterday, I was sitting on my bed and rewatching this video. And I realized from 6 years ago, I have gone so far. Because now I live here. I live here. I live here now. Unbelievable. Not only do I live here, I have you guys here with me. And I got to share an entire year almost with you on a unicycle, traveling through this beautiful city together with you guys. You guys realize how fucking special that is? And you guys got to enjoy real moments where I met my best friend, one of my best friends. His name is Max out here. And it was caught on video. It was caught on video on an older video of mine where I was traveling. And I went to a protest, and he was on a unicycle, and he can't even approach me, and it's caught on video. He's still a great friend to this day. It's insane.
It's Prague.
So there's so many details that I can add to this story here, but looking at this video from such a lost, damaged boy, I had no idea what I was doing. I really had an idea of what I wanted to do, but I didn't know if it would ever work out. I wanted to chase my dreams. I wanted to be a performer. I wanted to be extravagant and flamboyant and a fucking bizarro and a weirdo. And I wanted to be celebrated in this way. I wanted to bring wonder. I wanted to bring love and positivity to the rest of the world, or whatever grandiose idea.
I couldn't agree more.
I saw nothing like this in the grand landscape of the culture, and I never saw this type of thing with any current influencer or musician. But I didn't care. It's not about them. I wanted to bring my unique flavor to the world because this is what I wanted as a kid, to see somebody that maybe approached life in a similar way. So, that being said, as this video came on, I started crying. I started crying so hard because the opportunities that came in this last week, I got signed officially to my first music video. My music video. I can't even get my words straight. I'm gonna bring myself just a little bit bigger here so I can be big and annoying as I usually am. Oh my God, I'm flying! Jesus Christ. I'm gonna leave this here. So I started sobbing because I finally got signed to a music label that bought my entire catalog. Basically 6 years of music that, did definitely get reception at the time, but now, after potentially losing everything and quitting social media about 2 times, and then losing an entire audience and everyone unfollowing me, and then attracting a bunch of raptors that just wanted me to disappear and not exist anymore, and wanted to hammer me down and make me lose my uniqueness and my eccentricities and the things that make me different but cringy, but beautifully cringy. I was told that I shouldn't dress the way that I do, and why do you talk so weird? What is this fucking accent coming from? And why are you making all these voices? Why are you dressing like this? And all this stuff destroyed me because I wanted to put myself out there in a way, in this manner. But after receiving all this stuff that happened after the pandemic, where people were so vicious and so political and wanted to damage each other and hate on each other, and it really damaged my spirits during this time period. It really hurt. It really hurt a lot. And so I decided to leave. I decided to leave social media because I really knew something was wrong. And during that time that I left, I lost so much of what I had built. I lost so many people that were following me. I lost at least 50% of my Instagram followers, and my channel now still to this day is not doing very well at all. And you know what? It's fine. I'm grateful for everything that happened, because during that time off, I really found myself and my true interests and the way that I really want to dress and the way that I actually I feel naturally speaking. You maybe wondering where the hell did you get this accent, Pierre? I realized I had been masking so long. I had been just speaking in a manner that I wanted to communicate with others in a more understandable and accessible way to them. Obviously, it's still a way, it's still who I really am. Of course it is, but when you've traveled and moved around so much in my life, I felt like an orphan child hanging out at other people's families and being tossed around in one culture to the next, being taken on vacations with with other kids and their families, because my family wasn't necessarily close like that. So I got to experience all of these different cultures and ethnicities and nationalities and ways of speech and dialects, and moving to Europe and traveling to these different cultures and all of these things, man. So. But being stuck on social media and having a persona tied into being like, I don't know, this kind of like this angsty, depressive man of the world, rock star, fuckboy, or whatever, and I think I was hiding a part of myself, which is I'm a complete dork. I'm a complete theater kid. I'm a complete nerd. I'm a very flamboyant creature, a very extravagantly cringy character, and I will embody it. And the moment I decided to embody absolutely everything of who I really am, that I feel natural in, and I chose to love those bits of myself, my true self started finally coming out bit by piece. And here I am, finally deciding that I'm going to navigate everything in my life with love and positivity and love. And this is a really hard adjustment, especially in the time of social media where everything is based on drama, controversy, and criticism. It's very, very hard to make content and do something without people yelling at you and saying that this is not who you should be. And I cannot take that. I don't like it. You can make fun of me. It's fine now, because I chose to love myself. And a lot of what these raptors say, and a lot of what these haters want to tell me that I sound funny or I look weird or whatever the fuck, it's fine, because now I fully embrace every bit of myself. And this is before any opportunity came to me. And during this time, everybody in this chat has followed me, and it went as small to 80 viewers a stream. And I remember who you guys are. Don't worry. I remember everyone who has helped me through my life, from since I was 3 years old to now. all of the people that took me in when I was playing mini golf alone when I was 4 years old. I remember the family that decided to actually play with me. I played mini golf alone at a very, very young age. I don't know exactly the details of what this happened, but they took me in and allowed me to play with them. I remember these people. I remember everyone who has been there for me when everyone didn't believe in me. And everybody here, I will always remember. I know who you guys are by name. I've talked to you guys even one-on-one at times. And this has been such a special thing for me. Since I've started social media, I never really cared about the money. I cared about talking about the truth, bringing out the truth and true vulnerability of the human condition and the spirit of what it means to be a human being. And I have an entire track record to show it. I have live streams where I've communicated with almost every single one of you guys. I've rarely even ignored a comment if I can. You guys have seen me interact with people in real life during my live streams, and you guys have seen me interact with them in the most positive, loving way as I possibly can.
He's, bless his heart, you can tell he's worked up, and he goes on for quite a while after this, but everything that he is saying is absolutely true. I've been following him for a long time, and he is a very, very kind soul. He has a very sarcastic sort of sense of humor. He is very goofy. And he did kind of lose his way for a while. And we talked about that on the very first video we did involving him. And I spoke about him going on these highs where, hey, life is great. And then nihilism kicks in and, oh my God, everything's messed up. And I don't know who I am or what I am or where I'm going or what's wrong with me, but here we are. And he is completely turned a page in his life. And now that he is at a point where he is being more accepting of himself versus what other people are expecting from him. He said it, but it was so short that I don't know if anybody noticed it. He got an offer from a record label to buy the entire catalog of all the music that he has made over the last 10 years, which, it's some of his stuff is very, very good. There are some of his songs that I have on my Amazon playlist. I bought them babies and they're a part of my regular routine because they are very, very good. There are some of them that are, they're nice, but they're just not my speed because he has changed styles on and, varied up his styles. I gravitate to what I gravitate to, just the way it goes. But I wanted to share that with him because seeing him so abundantly happy, and to see that he is finally making his way in this world after all the time and effort and energy that he's devoted to trying to meet his goals. It makes me proud of him. And I left him a message telling him that I'm so incredibly proud of him because even though he has gone through so much, he has persevered through it all. And now all of the time, all of the work, all of the heartache, it is all coming to fruition for him to actually be the person that he wants to be and to do the things that he has wanted for so long to do. And one of the things he says in here is he's like, I don't have to worry about anything anymore. And we can spend more time together, me and y'all out there. And, we're going to get to go and do things and all of that. And he is actually being rewarded for all these long years of hard work. And I ain't gonna tell you no lie. I sat there listening to this earlier and I boohooed a little bit because I feel like as long as I've been around, which has been quite a few years, and there have been so many conversations that he's talking about on live where I've been involved, I am incredibly, incredibly proud of him. It's like my nephew's doing so good and I'm so happy. We deal with nothing but negativity on this channel for the most part because of the subjects that we cover. And it's nice. It's nice every so often to be able to say, here's something positive. Here's some good in somebody's life that's happening when they bring nothing but good to other people. And I am all for celebrating those milestones with Pierre because Pierre he's very goofy. He doesn't take himself seriously. Sometimes you can't take him seriously, but deep down, he's got a really good heart and he has gone through a lot. And honestly, he deserves nothing but good things for him. And I honestly wanted nothing more than to share that with other people because I love me some of him. He's a sweetheart. He's, as you can tell, he's a little silly. He's kind of silly, and no matter how life may be hard or get him down at times, he will not let it stop him. And I am all for that too. I mean, shit gets dark, shit gets real, but it can be painful, but let's be realistic. It is those moments, it is those times, it is that pain that shapes us into warriors that are capable of facing and overcoming things that we would never think that we were possible of dealing with. And the same holds true for Pierre. And I am incredibly proud of him. And I hope that you guys are too, because to me, I'm all for being able to celebrate somebody's victories with them. That's the way that it should be, And I mean, I haven't ever had an actual one-to-one conversation with him, but because I've been around so long, I do feel like I kind of know him just through conversations that have been had in live streams and being there through all these different things that have gone on for him and kind of cheering him on and listening to all of the negative thought processes that he has at times and telling him, this is temporary, my guy, you're going to get through it. And now that he's through it and he is so elated and he feels happy and free and, like he can face the world and take on anything, that to me is part of why I'm invested in all this, because, everybody needs somebody like that in their life to tell them, you can do this. You can do this. You are capable of so much more than you realize. See, and I'm glad, grateful. See, and that's part of another thing that I shared. That's another reason I shared him with everybody, is because he is so smart. He is so eloquent in the way that he speaks, not right here, because he was so excited that you could tell his thoughts were kind of racing a little bit, but he is deep down. He is very goofy. He doesn't take anything seriously, but you can tell he's got a good heart, and I love me some of him. I mean, if I ever ran into him, the first thing would be, I would ask him, be like, can I give you a hug? I've been following you forever. I feel like I know you. We've talked all the time. Could I just give you a hug? Because I feel like you need more hugs in your life, and I want you to know I'm so proud of you. I want to give you a hug. And honestly, I think that the more positive people that he has around him, the better that his things are going to be for him in the long run. And I think that, everybody should have that, so long as you're a good person, you really should have people in your corner willing to cheer you on and fight for you. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that you found him too, So now that we have had our Pierre positivity moment and celebrated his milestones, and if he happens to see this, congratulations, Pierre. Nobody better deserves to actually reap some rewards for all the work that they've done. Very, very proud of you. I'm going to call it a night because it is now almost 10:30 and I still got to sleep. Tomorrow's going to be a long day, I think, you guys. I'm going to have to take something to make myself sleep, I think. But I will catch up with you guys again soon. I appreciate every single one of you guys for hanging out with me tonight. I look forward to getting together for the next session of Who the Fuck Did I Marry? Because I have a feeling things are going to get more interesting. That is, if you guys are down. And we'll talk about whatever foolishness happens in the girl verse, I guess, if it happens. Thank y'all again for hanging out with me tonight. It really means a lot. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Those of you here live with me live and those of you on the replay. Take care of you. Get you some good rest. And remember to hydrate. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Because you are basically just a house plant with more complex emotions. Bye, y'all. Have a good night.